What's going down, Niner Faithful? Welcome back to another video. So, I told you guys I'm going to upload another video, and this is what this video is going to be about. It's going to be about Antonio Brown again, obviously, as you guys can tell from the title. So, I was brought to a point by somebody about for the Niners going to and trying to pursue Antonio Brown, and trying to trade for Antonio Brown. And one of my uncle actually brought up a very good point, and it kind of made me wonder, and I thought I'd make a video about it. So, I'm in a lot of other Niners fans' shoes, really wanting the Niners to trade for Antonio Brown. But this made me kind of double think my options. If you guys look at any source, any website, any online source, draft analysts, pages, whatever has to do with the Niners draft needs, this is the list in order. It goes defensive end / pass rusher, obviously, safety, corner, guard, wide receiver. Wide receiver's last. So, what exactly should the 49ers really trade for Antonio Brown? Now, I've already made the video about this, but this kind of made me double think my opinions in a way. And just hear me out on this, because I know the video title is probably going to get you already in the comment section commenting on, why would the Niners go out and pursue Antonio Brown and the whole 9 yards and stuff like that. This is what I think. From hearing what my uncle had to say, he's a real big Colts fan. He knows a lot about football. He says the Niners should not go out and get Antonio Brown. And I was like, well, why would you say that? Like, the Niners need a wide receiver. He said, for one, it's not their biggest need. For two, and I've already said this, but our offense is in better shape than our defense. And not only that, signing Antonio Brown, for one, the quarterback, we paid Jimmy Garoppolo a ton of money. We're going to have to sign, rookies. We're going to have to re-sign rookies. Not rookies, but we're going to have to re-sign players we're going to keep this offseason. We're going to have to re-sign, maybe extend rookie contracts. I don't think we'll extend rookie contracts unless they're in, like, their third, fourth year, but Antonio Brown, I get it, the best receiver in the NFL. But this is the thing on Antonio Brown. It's not the Niners' number one need. I get that, and I get that he can make the team better, and I get that he could, excel our offense to a whole different level. I get that part. But this is the thing. If you go out and spend a whole bunch of money on Antonio Brown, and it's not our biggest need, that could possibly I feel like Antonio Brown will get traded to. He wants to win now. Obviously, the Niners, if we get the pieces we need in free agency, if we draft the right guys, we could maybe be looking at a playoff spot next year. I feel like Antonio Brown's going to go to a contender that's already ready to win now. A contender like LA Chargers, Kansas City Chiefs. He could even go to New England. And he's in, like, win-now form. He's probably going to... Now, I get it. He said he wanted to come to the Niners. But I feel like teams that are already, like, winning, like, for instance, the Chiefs, the Chargers, I feel like he'll go to a contender like that rather than for John Lynch to go out and pursue him. Because I feel like, obviously, Antonio Brown wants to win now. Obviously, he wants to make it far. He wants to win another Super Bowl. The Niners aren't really in that position to. Now, I could see that changing within the next 2 to 3 years. But as of right now, the Niners are not going to go to a Super Bowl anytime soon. Now, playoffs, I can definitely see that maybe next year, maybe, make a big run the next 2 years, maybe 2021 season, who knows. But I think, personally, now I've dwelled over this for a long time since, AB said he wanted to come to the Niners. John Lynch is not going to trade for Antonio Brown. He's not even made a move about it. He's being smart, and I've always wondered why he wasn't making a move on Antonio Brown, but it kind of makes sense now considering that, that's not our biggest need, and that we definitely need, like, wide receivers our last need. especially with Garoppolo coming back, he's going to make every receiver better. Marquise Goodwin, he didn't have that good of a season. But our backup quarterbacks weren't Marquise Goodwin's number one target. It was George Kittle the whole season, obviously. So I feel like when Garoppolo comes back, we've seen that Marquise Goodwin Garoppolo connection multiple week after week after week after week after week in 2017 when he started those 5 games. So I feel like Marquise Goodwin's going to come back next year. I have a better season than he did this year. I feel like Dante Pettis will be in the mix big time, and obviously George Kittle's probably going to play even better than he did this season, considering that Garoppolo's coming back. So, what am I trying to get at here? What should the Niners do if they don't sign Antonio Brown? This is what I think. There's receivers out in the market we could sign. Golden Tate, Cole Beasley. Who else is on the market? Devin Funchess. Moncrief. The list kind of goes on. John Brown, he's on the list. So, the Niners with signing Antonio Brown, it's not going to... It'll make us better offensively. It'll make us better, probably win a few more games next year. But the whole thing is, if we can get a mediocre receiver like a Golden Tate or a Cole Beasley type in free agency, that way we have, George Kittle, Dante Pettis would probably come around next season, and then Marquise Goodwin, plus that receiver we get in free agency, it's like a Cole Beasley, Golden Tate type. That'll save us money for one, and for two, it'll free up signing more players on defense that could help us because our defense is our biggest. We got to turn around our defense. So by signing like a Golden Tate or Cole Beasley would open up obviously more opportunities for the Niners to sign more defensive players, in which we do need. So say the Niners go out and sign, Golden Tate on like a 1 to 3 year deal or whatever, or not even Golden Tate, just any receiver. Then we're saving money for one, then getting Antonio Brown, because obviously we'd extend him if we trade for him. And not only that, with the money we have left over from signing one of those guys in free agency, we could fill maybe not all of our needs on defense, but we could fill majority of our needs on defense, because obviously, you want, when Garoppolo comes back, he's going to make everybody better around him. Obviously, it's a big need for us to go out and get a wide receiver, whether that's the draft or free agency. I personally think free agency, like a Golden Tate, Cole Beasley, or somebody like that, John Brown, kind of like a veteran that can still play, still rack up receiving yards and touchdowns. So then we'd have our wide receiver need kind of plunged out, filled out, because Garoppolo will make Marquise Goodwin, George Kittle, Dante Pettis, Kendrick. He's going to make a lot of the people on our offense, our receiver core, better than it was this year. By signing, like a Golden Tate type or Cole Beasley type, obviously that's going to boost up our offense even more than what it is, especially with Jerick McKinnon coming back. Then we can spend the draft and the rest of our free agency money on defensive players we actually need, rather than giving Antonio Brown all this money to where our wide receivers are our fifth need. We need to in our top 5 needs, wide receivers the last need, or our last thing we need to think about. So obviously we could use a receiver, a number 1 receiver, go out, get John Brown, Marquise, or Cole Beasley, Golden Tate, Funchess, some guy like that, and then use the rest of our money we have left over to fill defensive needs. Maybe sign like 1 or 2 starting caliber players on defense to fill, whether that's a corner, a safety, an outside linebacker, something along those lines. So the Niners, I've kind of double thought myself. I would not be mad if we signed them or if we trade for Antonio Brown, but it's looking like the Steelers are going to want a lot, and I don't think John Lynch is going to trade for him. So I've kind of thought about John Lynch thinking and all that, and that's how I kind of feel. I feel like he's going to sign, somebody like Funchess, Cole Beasley, Golden Tate, rather than to trade for Antonio Brown, which would save us money, in which we don't need a receiver that bad. Then address, the corner position, the safety position, sign somebody like that in free agency. Fill up our needs in free agency on the defensive side rather than to go out and just throw away our number 2 pick or probably our number 2 pick for Antonio Brown, who is not going to fill our biggest need we need on this team. I get it, if we need a wide receiver that badly, yes, absolutely go out and sign Antonio Brown. But with Garoppolo coming back and with Dante Pettis having a good season, he's going to excel even more next season. George Kittle will excel more next season. Marquise Goodwin will excel next season. So then go out and sign somebody like Devin Funchess or Cole Beasley or Golden Tate, to where, for one, that's going to save us more money. And if we do trade for Antonio Brown, we'd obviously extend him. But then have all this money left over from not getting Antonio Brown and getting like a starting caliber, like a Cole Beasley type receiver, or Golden Tate or Funchess, like I said. Then address the defensive needs we have that we need to fill. So I think that's what the Niners need to do. Sign like Funchess or Golden Tate, or somebody that's a free agent that could help this team out. And then, since it's not our biggest need on the receiver part, we already signed a receiver that we need. So our offense is pretty much done. Maybe get a guard in free agency, or maybe draft a guard. Then, go out in free agency, get a corner, a safety maybe, another linebacker. It all makes sense if you think of it that way. I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to get at here, but I feel like that's what the Niners should do rather than to get Antonio Brown, because a receiver's not our biggest need. I get it, he's going to make a big impact if we trade for him, but look at it in the perspective I just told you and let me know what you think we should do, because obviously our receiver is not going to make our defense better. By trading for a guy like Antonio Brown, we're going to need to extend him probably to a big contract since he's about the money, and then probably give our second overall pick when a receiver's not our biggest need. So look at it in the way of signing a Funchess, a Cole Beasley, a Golden Tate, a John Brown type. Fill the receiver need. Starting caliber receiver. We just got better on offense. Then save that number 2 pick to get, Josh Allen, who I want the Niners to get. Go out in free agency with all the money we're going to have. Get a corner. Get a safety. Maybe get a defensive somebody along those lines that can help, that can fill our defensive needs, rather than to sign Antonio Brown, which will not make our defense better, and go from there. So hopefully that makes sense to what I'm trying to get at. I get it, Antonio Brown's a stud. He will help out our receiver core, but signing somebody in free agency like that, plus, then again, you got to look at it this way too. Like I said, Antonio Brown's probably going to get extended by the Niners, probably going to be a big contract, which will take even a bigger hit on our cap money, our cap room. And then we're not going to have that much money to, sign, big time players in free agency that we need. Because, like I said, our receiver is not our biggest need. Signing a guy like Funchess, Golden Tate, Cole Beasley, I know I keep saying that, but I'm just trying to get you guys to understand me here. Somebody like that. But I don't know. I feel like that makes more sense for this Niners team. And I feel like we could save money on getting Antonio Brown. Save money on, trying to get players on defense that we need. Hopefully that makes sense of what I'm trying to get at. But if we get a guy like Funchess that'll fill the receiver need, make our offense better, not cost nearly as much as Antonio Brown would, then go out in free agency, address defensive players we need. That's what I think we should do. Whether that's getting a corner in free agency, a safety in free agency, any defensive need we need. And then draft. Not only that, we're saving our number 2 overall pick, which we'd possibly have to throw at them at Pittsburgh for Antonio Brown. That's saving our number 2 overall pick to get a guy like Josh Allen, who would fill another defensive need. That's what I'm saying at. So maybe sign a safety like Earl Thomas, right? Then you got more cap room to sign another player like that. Go out and get a corner that's going to be on the market this year. It all makes sense if you add it up that way. And that's what I think the Niners should do now. Do not trade for Antonio Brown. Get a guy like Funchess, Cole Beasley, Golden Tate in free agency. Then it's going to save you more money. Fill defensive needs. Go full out defense in free agency. Draft Josh Allen with the number 2 overall pick. Let me know what you guys think. But that's what I think. And hopefully you guys heard me out and understand what I'm trying to say. But I'm just saying, don't trade for Antonio Brown where it's going to cost us a lot when we need to focus mainly on defense and we can sign, a starting caliber, just right at a starting caliber receiver like Funchess, Cole Beasley, Golden Tate. Fill that need and go full out on defense and free agency and draft Josh Allen with the number 2 overall pick. Let me know what you guys think. Hopefully that makes sense. But sorry I've been ranting for 60 minutes, but I just had to get that out because I want to hear what you guys think about this situation and about what I'm trying to get at here. But if I'm John Lynch, that's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm doing. We'll see what happens.